A lot of folks have been waiting for this for quite a while. A special VIP experience tonight for those who were invited to a pre-grand opening of the new Dave & Buster's location at La Palmera Mall. Now, those people who've been in today, I haven't, but some who have just say it's really great. And the people who signed up to be part of their fan club were able to get a first-hand sneak peek tonight at this new adult-oriented amusement center, including a chance to taste some of the great food they have. Managers of the new restaurant say this was a chance for the employees and the management to get their feet wet and learn how to deal with the crowds. Dave & Buster's will be open to the public Monday, starting at 11 a.m.
Sounds very fun.